Welcome back. Today we have Mike, Chris, and Mark McDonough, who are owners of Fratello's Italian Grill and also Homestead Restaurants. Welcome, guys.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Great.
You're a family business. You're brothers. How did you get into the restaurant business to begin with?
Well, we grew up in the business. Our mom and dad moved from Massachusetts to the Lakes region in the early 70s and started with a small mom and pop breakfast restaurant. Then we've grown from there, went to an inn at Newfound Lake, an Italian restaurant in downtown Bristol, New Hampshire, and eventually to the Homestead in Bristol, which was opened in 1978.
So, as owners of a family business, you said you started in this business because your parents were involved in the restaurant business. When did you actually get involved in the business?
Whether we liked it or not, at a very young age, we all washed dishes, we all bussed tables, we did everything. And we did it out of necessity, and I can remember, you growing up, you'd come home. We're in high school, we used to live upstairs above the restaurant. That was our home. It was an unusual way to be brought up, but our folks worked really hard.
Which town was that in?
We're up in Bristol, by Newfound Lake. And so they'd work all day in the kitchen, go up, shower, change, come back down. My dad would bartend, my mom would either cook or be out on the host desk. And so we'd come home from school, do a quick change to go out and meet up with your friends, and hey, just go out there and bust a few tables for us, my dad would say. Take you 10 minutes was his famous line. And before we knew it, we were shutting the place down because they needed an extra hand.
I mean, I think my brothers and I all have an amazing work ethic because of our parents. And, we missed a lot of proms, we missed a lot of dances, we missed a lot of activities that normal high school kids attend. I worked myself through college. Being the oldest brother, my folks couldn't afford to send us to school. And I worked 2 different jobs at UNH and came back on weekends to work just to be able to pay the tuition bills.
Now, your brothers, who's the boss?
We're all the boss.
How can you all be the boss? How do you ever have any disagreements on what
Never. We've never disagreed on a thing. It's amazing. This chemistry is amazing.
Yeah, we disagree almost every day on certain issues, and we've adopted a philosophy that if 2 of the brothers think that it's the best decision to do a certain project or make a certain decision, the other brother usually comes along for the ride. Sometimes not easily, but that's typically how we run those decisions.
Now, McDonough, that sounds like an Irish or Scottish name, is it?
It's an Irish name.
It's an Irish name, so how come Italian restaurant?
What happened, we had a couple of homestead restaurants. So we had one in Londonderry at the time and the original one up in Bristol. And we went to an auction and bought this old bank in Laconia. And we didn't really have a game plan for the building at the time. So we started to go on a quest of use for this building and went down to Boston where they had these open kitchen concepts, which this was back in the early 90s. It was a new thing, and there was nothing like that at the time in New Hampshire. We just decided that would be a great theme. We didn't want to take away from the traffic that we were getting from the Lakes region area coming over to Bristol, so we needed a different theme.
So that's one of your restaurants. You also have the Homestead restaurants, and what's different between the Homestead restaurants and the Fratello's restaurant?
I think mainly the feel. I mean, the Fratello's buildings are these brick buildings, mill buildings in the bank in Laconia. And the homesteads are in these old New England farmhouses, smaller rooms. And the one that we have down in Merrimack, we actually converted the barn upstairs, we made it the bar. And it's this rustic, tavern feel to it with overstuffed furniture and entertainment every night. And the menu differs as well, but definitely the feel and the ambiance and the 2 themes are very different.
When you first opened here, and maybe even as you continue down this road, what kind of things do you do to get the word out and to market yourself?
I want to speak to this, the Manchester location specifically. This particular property was on the radar because it was one of the first projects in Manchester that was a mixed-use renovation. And there was a lot of talk, there were a lot of pieces in the Manchester Union Leader about us opening. So when we opened this location, a lot of folks were very curious about what was going on. It's a huge curiosity factor. So when we opened the doors, we were extremely busy. And we were actually pulling people from all the other locations to come and help us get through some of those busy nights when we first opened.
For the sake of disclosure, I'm a huge fan, and I'm one of the people that come here frequently. And you have sort of a frequent flyer program or a frequent guest program that is really interesting and when I signed up many years ago, I thought, well, this is really nice. Can you tell me about that program that you have?
Chris put together a nice program in conjunction with our computer system that makes it seamless for the customers to come, get a visit, accumulate points and dollar values that they can come back and redeem later and for future visits.
It's certainly not unique to us, but it is something that works well for us because we really rely on that regular customer, and I think it's a way for us to give back to them.
How big of a part of your business is the function, wedding, meeting business?
Probably not as big as we'd like it to be. It's kind of a hidden gem here in the Mill Yard. People walk into this restaurant and you walk into the lobby, the kitchen's in the background, the restaurant, the dining area is off to your right, with the function facilities down the hall to the left, and most people don't know it exists.
It's about 20% of our sales for the Manchester location.
How many people can you accommodate in your banquet facility here in Manchester?
It's 200 comfortable to sit down, but we can do much more when we have hors d'oeuvre type parties where it's more of a milling around atmosphere versus a sit down meal.
If I was to ask you, what really is the singular distinction of your restaurants? What is it that you can't get somewhere else?
Part of it is the facilities, like we talked a little bit about that, the historic nature of the mill and the bank buildings, the old farmhouses, that atmosphere that's difficult to build out of the ground and duplicate for a chain, for instance, that might be in your market. Secondly, is we talked about the staff and those managers that have been with us for 20 years that are greeting you when you walk in. That's another thing that's very difficult for chain restaurants and competitors to duplicate.
It makes us really proud at our annual company Christmas party when we can pass out 15 and 20-year pins to servers, bartenders, managers that have been with our company for a long time. We have a strong philosophy of promoting from within, and general managers at our locations oftentimes started in the dish room or bussing tables, or they were bartenders, and we work with them and build the business through that.
Well, I think this has been interesting. It's been informative. I wish you the best. I think that obviously I'm a huge fan of what you're doing, and I wish you continued success. So Mike, Chris, and Mark, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll be seeing you at the bar occasionally.
Look forward to it.
Thanks for having us. Kevin.
We'll be right back after this message.
Yeah, I'm in the mood for Fratello's.